Thank you all for coming on Ask Dr. Kelly OMD. I am a board certified OBGYN and healthcare executive here to help you live your healthiest and wealthiest life. And the way that we do that is by focusing on our 5 pillars: spiritual, physical, financial, mental, and emotional. And we do the Viva Life 5 things. We meditate, journal, exercise, optimize our nutrition, hormones, and our sleep while we eat the Viva Life 5 foods: fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, beans, and drinking our water. That all being said, tonight is about the F. F is for financial. And we are so excited to have here. And I might get a little emotional, so please don't mind me because this is years in the making. So we have Gwen Cohen here. She is going to tell us a little bit about herself and the top 3 things that she wants us to take away tonight. Gwen, the floor is yours.
Dr. Kelly, I can't tell you how excited I am to be with you. It's an honor, and I've been waiting for this for a long time as well. Well, community, I'm Gwen Cohen. I'm a wealth advisor turned author who launched my book, Butterflies, Bees, and Bubbles, Gifts, Lessons and Gifts and Gratitude. And today I'll be talking with you about 3 key points. Number 1, wealth is more than money. Number 2, effective decision-making requires critical thinking. And that critical thinking sits on the base of the values that are important to you. And the third one, which is very important, is that given number 1 and number 2, your very best outcomes emerge when you are very confident that you're not competing with another person. I'm delighted to be here and look forward to exchanging some personal stories, especially because all it takes is 2 personal stories to begin the solutions to the world's problems. Thank you again.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm really excited because we've talked about this as far as wealth being more than money. And we talk about, health is wellness, as well as finances is wellness. Wealth. But I think that what you talked about as far as wealth is more than money, critical thinking and knowing yourself, not competing against others, understanding your divine purpose and what your divine alignment is so that you can live your healthiest and wealthiest life, spot on point. So, Viva Lifers, imagine growing up with 3 guiding women whose wisdom, not just in advice, but in lived example, shapes every decision you make from your health to your wealth. In Gwen's new book, like she said, Butterfly, Bees, and Bubbles, she does just that. She draws from the lives of her great grandmother, Ida, grandmother, Maud, and her mother, Clementine, to show how generational wisdom can be your compass, helping you move beyond financial benchmarks and towards a richer, more holistic life. So, tonight, wellness truly is wealth. And I want to start with that statement: wealth is more than money. Gwen, tell us about how wealth is more than money.
Well, I begin when I talk a little bit about myself. I'm the 4th of 5 children. And um, by the time I came along, I saw the blueprint from my family just by looking at them and by looking at the successes. And we grew up in an environment where our parents gave you what you needed. They used to say that when a newborn comes home, either the newborn will train the parent or the parents will train the newborn. And in my case, we had that training because we grew up in a home where nutrition was very important. We ate balanced meals. We didn't eat cookies for snacks. We had grapes. Oh, I hated that. The blueprint also included morning rituals. It included homework. It included sports. It included housework. So we had the full spectrum, and we had those hygiene and spiritual rituals as well. And just as we learn things that way when we're very young, we actually have an opportunity to express them when we become older. So I literally felt like I came out of the household going into the work environment, into college actually, with most of the tools that I needed to operate a fulfilling life.
And I think what you're saying is so important because understanding that and I know Viva Lifers, y'all gonna get on me because I tell this all always snacks, fruit, vegetables, nuts, grains, beans, right? We talk about that, right?
Yeah.
And I know my 11-year-old child would be like, oh my God, where did she get this from? And not even knowing our mutual great grandmother, right? Not even knowing her. We talk about generational things that have been passed down from generation to generation. I didn't even know her, but Viva Life is just an example of genetic pass down.
Precisely.
So,
You know,
go ahead.
I wanted to say something here too, because I realized that because my parents had those rituals, and my grandmother, whom I spent a lot of time with, and I talk about that in the book, she had a similar one. So it was clear that they both operated out of the same playbook. It was reading that playbook and leading with the same playbook that made it more instilled in us, so that by the time we left home, that was the path. And you knew you had a path. It was part of helping you understand who you are.
And understanding that path, I mean, that has stuck with you your entire life. I mean, longevity. So we're talking about people that live well into their 80s, 90s, some people into their hundreds in our family history, right? So utilizing that playbook. I know that in the book, we talk about the ideologies, right? Utilizing that playbook, the ideologies. Can you tell us a little bit about the ideologies?
Wonderful. I'd be happy to. One of the most important ones from Ida, my great grandmother, and Kelly, you've already let it out. That's your great grandmother too. We share the same great grandmother. So you can, I think it's in the genes. But
Mhm.
one of the things about this woman who was born in 1874 is during the great influenza, when everything was literally almost shut down and everybody was sick, she decided then that her children that were still at home, all daughters, needed to be prepared for life as a responsible adult. Three key values: be financially savvy and responsible. To think about the size of your family before you build it. Our great grandfather was away building railroads. He was not there when she needed him most. And the third one is to find a way to give back to the good earth. Those are the three values that we begin with. Think about this: a woman born in 1874 teaching her daughters to be financially savvy and responsible. There's no question that Dr. Kelly got the message.
But in that, I mean, I remember when my grandmother would sit down with her ledger, and I'm not sure, how far my grandmother got in school, but with her ledger, and she would literally write down every penny to the penny, what came in, what came out, where it went. And one of the things is they built their wealth on real estate as well. And they all
Yeah.
helped each other attain real estate. So let's go there, that financial savviness, because I think that many of us have some financial education, but savviness, talk about the savviness that you need to have with your finances.
So first of all, I'm going to invite every person in this community tonight to do something, and that is to get to know those family stories that you've not heard. Because had Dr. Kelly and I not been connected to those family stories and been very curious, we might not have enjoyed them as much as we did, and we might not have been more curious. So many of you have in your genes the same kind of messages about financial savvy that we have in ours. But a couple of things about the responsibility for doing that. And yes, I knew my Aunt Aura did that. She called it running the books. You remember that word? She says, I always run the books. And it came from Ida. Ida taught her daughters how to prepare to go to the general store. They started in the cupboard. They call that a cupboard. It's a it's a pantry. Find out what's already there and determine what it is you need. Oh, I see this. I know. Find out what you need before you go to the store and write it down. That's a message that resonates even today, because sometimes, until I started paying attention, I would end up buying stuff that I already had. And the one that's at the back would expire before I could use it. So that was one of the messages. But guess what? We have cupboards all over our lives, and we need to survey the cupboards. We have a cupboard not just with the pantry and in the refrigerator. We have cupboards in our closets. And I'm going to say in our shoe closets, our handbag closets. We have cupboards inside of our online marketing, on our online shopping. So we have to survey the cupboard so that we don't walk into a sale and not know what we got there for. Those are the lessons that came from your grandmother, Dr. Kelly, and from my grandmother, because they came from Ida. Ideologies are about using critical thinking for every decision you make.
Yes, and I know we're going to go into those, but I have to comment on those covers. I just so one of the things we do is we podcast on a word of the day. And last year's word of the year was purge. Well, I went back to purge and I went into my closet and I got 5 bags of clothes that's going in that car to be donated, right? That's one of your things, giving back, because these are nice things, but they just no longer fit who I am, or my mom. They don't fit my mom anymore because we've been practicing the Viva Life 5, right? And we're
Yes,
donating them to our local church, our local domestic violence women's home, so that women can have these things and utilize them so that they can go out there and get the careers that they want or look the way that they want. But it's no longer here for me. So forgiving and releasing and purging is something that we always talk about. And I love that because if you know what's in your pantry, then you're not going to, number one, let anything go to waste. And number two, you're not going to overspend, right?
there you
And
are.
in your 5 pillars, you can overspend in any one of those pillars. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to mention a couple of things. One, when you talk about overspending and you look at the importance of something like that, knowing what you have and knowing how to give away, that the last pillar for Ida's ideology is giving back to the good earth.
Mm.
And that's something that you also practice in the process.
Absolutely, absolutely. It makes me think about one of our Viva Lifers is certified in, and I might get the wording wrong, but forest walking. And we did a 1 hour session, and I just literally went to my backyard. And when you talk about giving back to the Mother Earth, standing there with no shoes on and looking and breathing out right under the tree, forest therapy walk. Thank you so much. Breathing out, under the trees that are breathing, right? We're exchanging, right, gases,
Yes,
and we're
yes,
exchanging energy and all of that. I mean, it was what I exactly needed at that moment in time. And to be able to be very intentional about giving back to the earth that gives to you on a regular basis, so important. So thank you so much
absolutely.
for, those three. But the financial savviness, one more. Give us one
Yes.
more tidbit, because you have in your prior career, you're rewired now as an author, but in your prior career, you have been exposed to people that have had significant amounts of wealth. But how were you able to teach them that financial savviness and to be appreciative as they get to the point where it's like, you know what, I really don't need anything else. So now what?
Well, with each client, I start with what's important to you. What, what's important to you, who's important to you, which are also two of the questions that Ida always proposed to her children in critical decision making. Because the way
Mhm.
you answer those questions depends on what the circumstances are right now. And the answers may be very different when you ask yourself the same two questions tomorrow. So I start with that. What's important to you? Who's important to you? What are the values that you hold dear? I didn't even know at the time I started in this profession that my own great grandmother, a woman born in 1874, had influenced my life in such a wonderful, I'm getting goosebumps right now, had influenced my life in such a wonderful way. So then the values, what are the values you hold dear? What are the things that you learned from the generation before you and the generation before that? What are the stories that you learn that you want to pass on to your children or other people in your family? I'm having all of those conversations before we talk about the assets.
Mhm.
The assets were the last part of it. By the time we get there, I understand why somebody who left Italy in 1921 had had children who donated to the American Cancer Society. I knew all of those answers because they told me earlier. So now I can start with those three things that Ida talked about. The financial savvy we've covered, but how do you give? You give to the organizations that'll bring value to what your values are.
Mm. Yes. So, and it's just so important. And a lot of us start out with the 10%, right? Many of us are spiritual foundations. We go to church, we give our 10%. But imagine when you're able to give beyond that 10% to something that you know is continuously giving back to the community. And as you build your wealth, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because many of our Viva Lifers are wealthy and they don't even know it. Because they don't even look at it like that. But many of them are, and they're continuing to build not just financial wealth, but as we said, their spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental well-being as well. So, being able to give back in so many different ways makes such a huge difference. So let me get back to the critical thinking piece. Critical thinking. We make, what do they say, over 1,000, probably more than that, 10,000 decisions a day. What is the foundation or platform, or what do you use to make these critical decisions in life?
Well, I'm going to start with my morning ritual. I have a morning ritual, and nobody's asked me this, so I haven't shared it a lot. I do tithing every morning. That's a part of my morning ritual. My mom taught me that. Clementine taught me how to include that. Okay. So I start with that. I do the journaling, and I also do my meditation in the morning. And in that, I set my intentions for the day. And part of it is that I have the energy, the strength to do what's important for me to do today. And I invite the divine spirit to literally schedule my day. The first time I said that, it frightened me, but that was part of an exercise with my mom. And I asked her, I said, I can't do that. I work for Morgan Stanley, I've got clients. She looked at me and she said, those are your words. Don't ask me how you're going to do it. You know how to do it. This is also the mom who said, everything you'll ever need in life is already on your path. So I knew earlier on that I had the ability to do what's important to me, to help other people, empower other people, and to make other people prosperous. That was my gift. And it was part of my intention every single day. I finished my day recapping, how well did I do? When you come into that kind of spirit and you know that your abundance is in all 5 of those areas, all 5, then you don't worry about how you're going to do it. And you step out and you make a decision to give sometimes to an organization or to a cause that may not have been in your schedule, if you will. But it comes with a level of confidence that I talked earlier about that playbook and seeing a blueprint from that playbook on my older siblings. Well, you got a lot of years behind you having practiced it. And I had practiced it when I got to college. I had practiced it so much that I made a decision that you'll see in the book called Bike Ride Home. And I'm hoping we have a minute to chat about that before we're done.
Let's go right into that, because what you just said, Viva Life, I want y'all to know that we had not had the conversation necessarily about the morning rituals. And in Viva Life, we have a morning ritual. So you are looking at 150 years of passed down, because we start with when our great grandmother was born and she passed down this information. We are looking at 150 years of passed down information, and we are still alive. Okay? We are still alive. So when people are telling you that you are going to be erased, and I'm looking right in this camera right now because this is like here for me. You shall not be erased. When in your genes, it's not just trauma that's in your genes, but it is triumph that is in your genes by doing things like these morning rituals that have been passed down. And if it was not passed down to you verbally, you may have seen it, and you may actually just feel it because it's inside of you. So I'm going to sit back because I can get in my preach minute.
You did already. You did already, Dr. Sally.
But I did want to go, like you were saying, into that bike ride home, because I think that's such a powerful story. And Viva Lifers and guests and friends, if you have questions, Viva Lifers, go ahead and start putting those in the chats. We'll look at those, and our friends will ask you to do the same. So Gwen, as you're taking this question, Viva Lifers and friends, go ahead and put whatever questions you have in the chat. This is the time. Go ahead.
So is this a moment for us to talk a little bit about Bike Ride Home?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Great.
I love that story.
I got out of college young, went to work for IBM, got a little apartment after I left the family home. And I took a bike ride on a Saturday morning without a bike lock. And I ended up at a condo conversion. And less than 45 minutes later, I had made one of the most consequential decisions of my life. I was less than 22 years old at the time. And I made a decision to buy a condo, a 2-bedroom condo with indoor parking. And the salesman who had a chance to sell me that condo didn't have the confidence in me. So he didn't waste his time with it. A female salesperson came, showed me what I wanted. I ran the numbers like Anora always did. I came out and I said, this is what's important for me. And this is who's important to me. Back to Ida's 2 questions. So thinking about opportunity, I just wanted a bike ride. But I knew the opportunity when it came to me. And I would not walk away from it. So I endured some uncomfortable conversations. I won't talk about how I was dressed. I was dressed to ride in hot pants. And my hair was, so the guy probably figured, who is she? I'm not going to waste my time on her. But I had the confidence that I knew I was making the right decision. It involved critical thinking. It involved a lot of lessons from Ida. It involved lessons from my grandmother, which is pay attention. It involved lessons from my mother. And this is one that's very important. Everything you will ever need in life is already on your path.
Mm.
And I can hear her say that.
Mm.
So when I walked out with the documents stuffed in my bra, sweaty, I said, oh my God, what did I just do? I knew it was the right thing to do, and it was an opportunity that was meant for me.
Oh my God,
For
I
all
love it. You know
those
what?
out there who are saying I can't do it, you can do it.
You can do it because you stay ready. Like you're there. You had all of the tools right there. You're like,
Right
I
there.
know what my money looks like. I'm not sure if they were pulling credit back those days, but I'm
Yes, they
confident.
were.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
they and
confident.
I knew generally what my credit score was.
Right. And you know what that reminds me of? The Julia Roberts moment. You know, when Julia Roberts tries to go into a store and buy, and they look at her like, oh, you're not good enough, da 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 da. And she walks back, goes to another store, who's like, oh yes, come on in. You know, that's what that woman did for you or with you. And she came back and she was like, mistake, big mistake. That man lost out on a very nice sale because he looked at you and didn't think that you were ready for what he thought he was offering. But that's okay because divine alignment and divine purpose had you meet the right person at the right time that could accept the fact that absolutely this woman knows who she is, what she has, and where she wants to go. So thank you so much for sharing that story.
My pleasure.
I love it. All righty, let's see what we got in the chat. I know my people normally have questions for us. Yes, Forest Therapy Walk, and I love it, love it, love it. I love the energy that you all have about these topics. However, how do you establish these habits and practices to pass on when you're already a half century old? That's a good question. Thank you. Do you want me to read it again?
I believe I heard you say, how do you establish those habits when you're
Hmm.
already half a century old?
Yes.
Think about the goals that you have for 15 years from now and 20 years from now. In 15 years from now, you're going to be the same age whether you do it or you don't. So the question is going to be, what is it inside of you that you know you already have as inspiration? I would also suggest you get the book. There's some stories, some gritty stories and some inspirational stories. There are some very uncomfortable conversations. Can we talk about uncomfortable conversations?
Oh, come on.
Yes. There are uncomfortable conversations that we all have, some that we get ourselves into and some that are brought to us. So you're going to see probably 7 or 8 uncomfortable conversations in the book that help prepare you for this. And you will also find in talking with your own family, there probably are some stories of triumph that you didn't hear about.
Mm-hmm.
So stories from the book, stories from other people that serve as your accountability partners, and your own inspiration. You have everything you need to get started now and to finish strong.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that. I love the inscription in my book. I'm so glad to know. You said that that was from your grandmother, right?
That's from Clementine, my
That's
mother.
from your
Everything
mother.
you'll ever
Okay.
need in life is
It's from
already
your mother. Okay.
on your path. The
Already
message
on
from
your
my
path.
grandmother is pay attention to what's on your path. And that's the message I have for that, for the one who asked that question. Pay attention to what's on your path. There are treasures that you may be stepping over.
And you know what? Just to add to your answer with that, many times we're already doing the things that we're talking about, whether you're talking about the morning ritual, many times we're already doing that. And we just need to stay focused and hone it. We don't have to do a lot of changes. We just need to hone it in. And then
That is
also
so
people,
true.
yeah, also people ask me that same question. Kelly, you grew up with this. You watched your mom do this. You watched your grandmother do this. How do you start something that you didn't grow up with? I just had a conversation about that. And I was like, start where you are. Start where
Yes,
you are and just choose one thing to do. And whether that takes 5 minutes or you can extend it to 20 minutes, that's all you have to do is start where you are. So 60 seconds.
that's right. That's
All
right.
right, all right. I know. So we did put your information in chat, and I know this conversation went by much quicker. We had so much going on. If there was one magazine that you would recommend people get for their financial savviness, what is it? One article, magazine, or something that you get to your home on a regular basis? What would you recommend for that?
Okay, people are going to be shocked at this. And before I even show it, um, I subscribed to this magazine before I turned 38. And it's been one of the most valuable tips because it meets you where you are. It's easy. And I'm also delighted to say that I have this listed as a resource on my website. It is AARP magazine. Uh-oh, it's AARP. And this issue has great ways to save. Guess how many? 99. And there's some really cool tips in here. But if you haven't yet subscribed, go to my website, gwencohen.com, click on resources. There is a link to their website. There are ways to save money on a lot of things for different reasons. There are negotiating things in it, some things about healthcare that are really important. I think it's really one of the most important publications available.
And I will tell you, y'all, I've been getting that magazine for the last 20 years since my mom, well, 12 years since my mom moved in with me. And it has been a lifesaver, game changer, and a wealth builder. So easy day. Now, one of the things we always end with is gratitude. Every morning in our meditation, at the end is always a gratefulness or a thankfulness. So, Gwen, would you like to share a gratitude statement with us tonight?
Well, I'm grateful that I have an opportunity in this session to complete another part of my great grandma Ida's mission. My assignment was to spread the gospel of the ideologies that she gave to her daughters and her daughter's daughter. And I get to share that with you. And I get a chance to leave some nuggets that can allow you to live a more fulfilled life with more contentment and with good sleep at night.
I love that. Oh, we got to please first of all, thank you for your gratitude statement. I love that. Good sleep at night. I believe in some good sleep. But we also got please invite Miss Gwen back. This wasn't enough time. And thank you so much for being here. And I agree. Gwen, how can we get in touch with you?
You can write me, you can send me an email at hello@gwencohen.com. I don't know if she put anything in the chat. I try to stay focused. Hello@gwencohen.com is my email address. I recommend you do something else too, and that is go to the website and subscribe to the newsletter. There's another newsletter that's probably going to be released this week that also has some tips on helping younger children. I don't know how many people have children under the age of 25 or 27. So there's some tips there as well. But you can reach me by the website and also by direct email. But
All right.
buy the book, offer it to somebody else if you don't think you need it, because we do want to spread these messages about ways to live a more fulfilled life. And I believe you'll find some wonderful nuggets there.
Absolutely. So she says there's only 2 books left on Amazon. That means that it's a sellout. So let's go. We're going. It's okay, Gwen. We got
Let me
it.
mention something else too. Books
Yeah.
are also available at Book Baby. When you go to my site, it'll show you other places to buy the book.
Okay.
But yes, there are ways that you can get the book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Viva Lifers, thank you so much for being on here. Thank you, Gwen, for being on. And thank you for
It's
all the
my
work that you've
pleasure.
done and poured into this book to make sure we are not erased, y'all. We should all make sure our family history is documented. Our family history is documented. And all of these things, like I said, we don't just pass on generational trauma, we pass on generational triumph. And this is a triumph. You can reach me at drkellyomd.com or vivalifespfme.com. And I really appreciate everybody being on. I love you, love you, love you. And don't forget to do what? Viva Life. Have a good night, everybody. All right, all right. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of the Viva Life experience. I'm Dr. Kelly OMD, board certified OBGYN and healthcare executive. If you like what you heard, then please, please, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. The reason why is because we are trying to educate, encourage, and inspire 1 million people to live their healthiest and wealthiest life. And this is what we're bringing you. We're bringing you educational videos. We're bringing you podcasts. We are bringing you webinars with subject matter experts, including myself, about the topics that affect you the most. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. We are everywhere. Have a wonderful day. Viva Life.